What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here answering questions from our live show, which aired this week on Tuesday. I had a New Year's Eve, so appreciate everyone for watching with us live. And if you are not, subscribe or share the video so you can be a part of the next mailbag and get more people to the channel so we continue to grow. But let's get into our first question here on today's episode, coming in from Excellent Gamer 34. There's never a need to draft a running back because you can find a variety of high-quality ones in free agency for a reasonable price. This past year is true. That is not usually the case. Like this upcoming year, we'll cut out the time of me searching it up here, but let me look up the running backs that are going to be free agents in 2025. You ready? Aaron Jones, who's 30. He's having a good year. Najee Harris, he sucks. Jeff Wilson, A.J. Dillon, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams, Zeke. Zeke's only 29. None of those guys, for where they play like this year, except for maybe Aaron Jones, or anywhere near Saquon, who's in the 2K club, DeAndre Swift, who I don't think was a very good signing by the Bears, Josh Jacobs, or Derrick Henry. So when you say you can find a variety of high-quality backs, no. I think last year you could. I don't think that's the case this upcoming season, though. Brad, next one up on the show. Trade Tee Higgins, Happy New Year's. Brad, Happy New Year to you. And Tee Higgins will be a free agent, so I think you kind of mean like just acquire Tee Higgins, which I know that's been a long piece of like fan-desired, move for the Browns. I think Higgins is probably going to sign for $28, $29, maybe $30 million a season. And not that that's too much for the Browns, but I think T, if he can get similar money elsewhere, which I don't see a reason why he can't, is not going to pick the Browns. That's a tough pill to swallow right there, but I think he's going to want to go sign with the contender if he can get 28 from the Browns and 28 from another contending team. Now, if no other contending team calls and the Browns give him the biggest offer, money talks. But to be honest, between you and me and everyone else watching right now, I don't think Tee Higgins will be a Cleveland Brown. Dallas, you're next up. Hey, Petey, can you give us some early offseason predictions? I'll start us off. Andy Dickerson is gone. A great prediction. 100% agree. Also, do you guys remember the Ian Rappaport article that came out a few days ago? I did a video on it from my house, and in it we talked about Kevin Stefanski's job being safe. At the very bottom of that article, Rappaport just pointing out, by the way, Mike Vrabel, who has been the de facto offensive line coach this year for Cleveland, the offensive line coach is not the offensive line coach? Yeah, Andy Dickerson, absolutely gone. I'll say Jim Schwartz returns. Ken Dorsey could go either way. I feel like if they fire him, it's a little bit of an unfair shake. The offense got better when he started calling plays, but they kind of brought him here to maximize Watson, and that didn't happen. So another prediction I'll offer, let's talk personnel-wise here. I will say either Joel Petonio or Wyatt Teller does not come back next year. Either because Petonio retires or because the Browns just can't afford to have two high aging guards. Soul Train. Hope the Browns turn it around like Washington. They need to have a great draft. Also take advantage of the Jets' dysfunction. Happy New Year, everyone. Soul Train talking about something we talked about in our live show, which was the possibility of maybe trading for Garrett Wilson because there is some chatter that the Jets and Wilson and Rodgers are not all on the same page. And I tossed out this trade idea, which doesn't look very good for the Jets, and it's not designed to be very good for the Jets. But this trade idea is under the idea of the Browns have a top 2 draft pick, and the Jets want to move up to get a quarterback, and the Browns go, sure, give us your pick, we'll give you ours, and you get Shador or Cam Ward, and we get Garrett Wilson and your pick. And the Jets go, okay. So the Jets are dysfunctional. I wouldn't be surprised if they said yes to that. But as for turning around like Washington, yeah, unfortunately, there's no Jaden Daniels in this draft class. There's just not. And I know everyone, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people really want Shador or Cam Ward. Let me ask you this question. Michael Penix was in this draft class. He would be the consensus number 1 overall pick. Would he not? The guy went 8th. I don't think Cam Ward or Shador Sanders is actually even a top 10 player in this draft. Someone's going to take him because they're going to be so desperate as a GM. Sorry for the banging the gongs. It's our Raiders channel. But I don't want the Browns to be that team. Because I think whatever team does do that, it'll be a mistake. Soul Train, thank you for your super chat. Appreciate your support. We got a lot of excitement over our Raiders channel. Freddie, what do you think of drafting Abdul Carter with number 3 overall? What do I think of it? I love it. I think Abdul Carter is going to be an incredible player at the next level. I think putting him with Myles Garrett is just going to improve this roster. And right now, the Browns need a surefire thing if they're picking top 3. I know that the idea of saving the team by hitting on a quarterback is sometimes too good to pass on. You know what's worse than that, though? Missing on a quarterback and then basically going 4 years without a first-round draft pick. So I would love Abdul Carter. What I would really love is for the Browns to pick 1 or 2, trade back, get picks, and then get Abdul Carter still. That one I might be playing with my food a little bit, but I love the idea of getting Carter. Josh, who will not be a Brown in 2025? Great question. Let's go with Juan Thornhill. I think Ronnie Hickman's better and way cheaper. So Juan Thornhill comes to mind. Greg Newsome, I could see getting dealt, but I don't think the Browns are going to be actively shopping him. They haven't really been actively shopping anyone with GM Andrew Berry, right? Nick Chubb, I wouldn't be shocked if the Browns bring him back on a vet min. I think Chubb wants to finish with the Browns, and I don't think anyone's going to offer him more money. Maybe someone does. Like Zeke went to the Patriots and then came back, so it happens. So Juan Thornhill and definitely not Jed Wills. So I'll submit those two, but Juan Thornhill is actually under contract, so that would be my pick. Before we get on to the rest of today's show, quick shout out to our friends over at GameTime. GameTime has so many cool features, one of them being GameTime picks. What that does is it filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. A thing I love about GameTime is they offer the GameTime guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT SPORTS for $20 off. Shout out to GameTime for supporting us here at Chat Sports. Go support them as well. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. Cameron, what if we went out and got Tyreek Hill because he's going to be a free agent probably? Tyreek Hill's contract. He has 2 more years on it, 2025 and 2026. His dead cap hit for 2025, meaning money that will be responsible for the cap that he's on the team for, is $57 million. So, Cameron, I'm not really sure where you got this idea from. No, I don't think the Dolphins are moving on from Tyreek Hill. I haven't heard a single whisper of them maybe releasing him. He's not going to get traded. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be Miami Dolphin for 2025 and probably 2026 as well. So, Cameron, sorry to burst your bubble, but fun idea. Target this in your fantasy draft next year. It's not happening in real life. AFX, I like what Dallas said, Carson Beck to the Browns. No. Carson Beck sucks. And I know my personal bias as a Tennessee Volunteer fan is coming through right now. But in all seriousness, no, I do not like Carson Beck for the Cleveland Browns. I don't like Carson Beck for any team. I do not think Carson Beck is going to translate well to the next level. He's also coming off elbow surgery a few months before the draft as a quarterback. Yeah, pass. Let someone else take on that headache. Tim Green, trade down number 1 pick and build a wall. Oh, that's going to get the chat fired up. Offense and defense. Yeah, I'm with you on trading back and getting more picks. Like, I got Tankathon in front of me right now. Let's say the Browns get pick number 2. Let's say the Patriots or Titans win. They're both playing backups most likely in week 18. Browns are picking second. So maybe the Patriots trade their pick away for a quarterback-needy team, whatever. I think the Browns could go back 10 spots and get Will Campbell out of LSU or Kelvin Banks out of Texas. acquire maybe a first-round pick for next year, will hopefully be a better draft class altogether, because this year's draft class is a little bit on the underwhelming side. It's not nearly as fun as it was last year with all those offensive playmakers. And acquire an extra second-round pick and go heavy on the offensive line. If you take Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell in round 1, in round 2, you could add to the defensive line, but you just did that in round 2 of last year. Maybe go get a pass rusher, although I think adding a pass rusher in round 2 sounds like a fun idea. The reality is there's a big drop-off in successful pass rushers after round 1 of the draft. You do have some exceptions. Nick Bonito of the Denver Broncos balling out this year. He was the end of round 2 a few years ago. Harold Landry for the Tennessee Titans, but go look at some recent drafts. You can find great wide receivers in round 2, great offensive linemen, great corners, usually not great edge rushers. Pac-Man's Army. What if the Browns had to draft a QB? If the Browns had to draft a QB, which one would you like the most? Great question, Pac-Man. It would have to be someone who's not going to go round 1, because I don't want them to use a round 1 pick on a quarterback. So now my options are kind of limited down to Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon, maybe in round 3. You got 2 third-rounders. I'll toss out that name. I'll also toss out Kyle McCord. I know a lot of Buckeyes fans would be against that, and they'd rather go get Will Howard. I haven't really made a big conclusion on either quarterback yet, but if I had to pick one of, let's say, those 3, I'd explore Kyle McCord. I know it wasn't the best departure, but I'm not here to do what's best for Buckeye Nation. I'm here to do what's best for the Browns. And I'd go Kyle McCord in round 4 of the draft, or maybe round 3, but probably more like round 4. Next question from Dallas. Release Ethan Posick and sign Drew Dahlman. That's the Atlanta Falcons center. He's going to become one of the highest paid centers in football this upcoming offseason. The Browns can't really swing that. Posick has not been super good this year, but he's got 1 more year left in his contract. I'd stick it out with him. Allocate your resources elsewhere. You've got an okay center. I don't think this team is a above average center away from really turning things around. I'd rather go with Posick for another year, maybe draft a center in this draft class, and kind of groom him for 2025 to take over in 2026. Next question coming in from... one more question. One last question from Josh. Uh-oh. I got it. Saw the list of teams who are playing home and away next. 4th place schedule, not all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, I wouldn't get too married to opponents. One, a lot can change between now and after the draft for all the teams the Browns are supposed to play. 2, a lot changes in season with injuries. So I don't look at opponents and start to get really nervous. Browns had a tough schedule this year, and it showed, but the Falcons had the 32nd ranked schedule, like in terms of difficulty, the easiest. And right now they are 500. So things can change throughout the season. I would not be married to the upcoming schedule right now. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Go support us over on Instagram. Right now. Go to Instagram, Browns Report IG. Give us a follow. We put a lot of content over there as well. It would be a big, big thanks and a big favor for me to help grow my Instagram account.